La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. Behind the scene, my tears fall down. So many things have happened. The years go by and the friends you have for no more. Jealousy and envy. Wow. Because you keep on grinding. People wanna see you fail, and although you fall, just move on. Crabs in a barrel. Want what you have, try to pull you down. Don't wanna work, just wanna take. They also pay on me. The more you hate, I'll get lifted. Hate on me. The more you hate, I'll get lifted. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. People come, people go. Where they at, I don't know. Liabilities, your creativity. Assets I need.
But check. How y'all doing out there in Facebook land tonight? We fine. That's my voice of y'all. You know, y'all talking to me, but that's what I hear y'all as in my head. Not that raspy though. I want to say what's going on with everybody, and I'm going to introduce you to Open Mics Cafe Live and my co-host here this evening. Once again, Ro, say what's up to the people, Ro.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
They're all saying, hey,
Yep.
I hear it in my head.
Hey.
Yo, tonight is really interesting for me. We're talking about kind of like the keepers of the culture and keeping our culture and what drives our culture. And the odd part is when I ask myself that question, the answer is a little disturbing to me in a sense. To me personally, the answer is it's a little deeper than the average. You have to realize when this country was built, it wasn't built to be all inclusive. We were treated pretty much like beasts of burden, which typically meant we built the foundation. We helped towards financial stability because we built the country and we didn't get paid for the country that we were building. And so at the end of the day, all of that money and stuff, we talk about reparations and we look at how many, cultures had received reparations, the Jews, Chinese folks. There was an internment camp in America for Asian folks a long time ago. The odd part about everything is a lot of people have, in some sense, gotten some type of reparations. I mean, hell, America sends money to other countries that need aid and foreign support. But once again, we get lost in the shuffle of things. There's no real legislation protecting us as people, and we tend to not speak too loudly about it, and we don't fight for our rights in those senses. They'll toss us things like making Juneteenth a federal holiday, and we will buy T-shirts from Target and Walmart, and it's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. So I feel like we constantly get lost in the shuffle of things. And when I think about how we keep our culture, I believe that such a negative vibe is given to us. Our culture is driven by fantasy, not reality. I mean, when we listen to these young cats rapping and what they rapping about and what they talking about, we listen to these things on a daily basis, and they drive our culture. And what is the messages that we receive? Don't trust nobody. Don't trust your friends. Family is worse. You know what I mean? We're all alone. And we get this mentality that we're sitting on this island. You got what I'm saying? Like we used to be a village, and now each individual have their own island, and they try to keep people out of that. You can't trust nobody. And that's always, look at your Facebook timeline. Look at the memes people put up. We can't trust each other. Let me tell y'all something. I don't even watch, I call it blaxploitation still, but I don't even watch a lot of these movies that's made about the hood. I don't read a lot of the books that's made about the hood. Number one, I don't need to watch a movie or read a book to know that people get high and people sell drugs, to know that a lot of sex is going on, to know that murder is going on, to know that things are scandalous. I don't need all of that. I can open my front door. So I don't support things like that because I know our culture is bigger than that. So I refuse to support it. Do you watch stuff like that, Ro?
Actually, I do. I don't mind watching it. It's entertainment. That's all supposed to be entertainment. I know it does show, black folks in a bad light,
Yeah.
and things like that. So I do understand why. And like you said, if you live it, what's the point of watching something you already live in?
Yeah. What's going on, Christy and Quanisha? How y'all doing? Quanisha got a foundation she working on. If you get an opportunity, Quanisha, put your link up there. And Christy Barnes also has a show, Unapologetically Speaking. You put your link up there, Christy, if you can. So back to what we're talking about. I can understand a whole lot of things, but the reason why I feel like I can't buy into that culture bashing is because a lot of people, a lot of non-African Americans, that's where they get their information from when it comes to them researching our culture and what we're like and how we act and react, how we interact in culture, in society in general. You got what I'm saying? So sometimes you'll see somebody that want a black friend so bad, and they'll be like, "What's up, brother?" And you looking like, what? You got what I'm saying? Or they'll be trying to go out of their way so they won't be offensive, but at the same time being offensive as fuck. And they don't even know it because they're learning about our culture from what I call, once again, that blaxploitation. You know what I mean? I don't want to take nothing away from nobody, but that's not the shit I want to see on the screen. It's just not. Let me tell you something. If there were more movies like Black Panther, for example, the way I feel about that is, man, that was on point. That was definitely on point. You got what I'm saying? We get to see ourselves as our ancestors were. And another argument that I've been looking at really deeply, because I'm telling you, I'm on this whole kick about finding myself, finding religion and God and everything. And when I think about even what religion is to us, you know what I mean? I was writing a poem. The poem's not complete. It's not complete at all, but I just want to share a little bit of what I wrote. And this is a poem that I've been kind of writing to God, and it sounds a little funny. And like I said, the ebb and flow of it may be a little off, but I just need y'all to just close your eyes for a minute and act like you understand where I'm coming from. But it goes, I know you have turned your back on me. It's hard for me to accept. Knowledge is the only thing I have left, so now I spend my time trying to learn your true face. That's the hard part for me. Knowing I am descended from slavery, stories of Christianity beaten into me, burned into me, raped into me, lynched into me, each limb pulled into different directions until blood spilled and trailed behind the horses, oblivious to what they had done, until the only thing my people could see was the face of your son. This was not our choice. The words we speak today were learned from The white man's voice, narrated, they say, through your interpretation, pushed as beasts of burden, building the foundation and financial stability of a nation that we still can't take part in. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. My brethren, can you see why I'm afraid to die? Tears in my eyes for my ancestors who chose the cold, dark depths of the sea, yet thankful that that is the heart that beats in the fireplace within me, my birthright, all I'll ever truly own, taught to yearn to kneel at the throne of a God that never believed in me, allowed me to be beat until I yearned for grace never shown to me, mercy never afforded me, and free will shackled, bound, while forced to choose my submission or the death, or worse, to my family. But that's it, it's not finished, and like I said, it's not all together, but this is the honest to God truth. So on this huge question that I'm trying to figure out for myself, that I'm trying to figure out and also share with people if they would listen, we're put in this bubble. We are definitely put in this bubble, man, down to the style of clothes we wear and what we yearn to be subconsciously. And it's sickening. It's sickening. It's as if we have this crazy uncharted disease that was manufactured by everyone except for our community. And the sad part about it is I can't figure out how to wake up from it, because I figure sometimes if I could wake up from it, then maybe I can wake someone else up. And you won't wake everybody up, but maybe you could wake up one person, or maybe say something that somebody will keep in their hearts that they'll pass on to their children. Like, I'm sorry, all of our music is about fucking. I mean, don't you think?
Sex, drugs, and money.
Sex, drugs, and money. And if you ain't fucking, then get out, bitch, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know? in most of the masculine role models that these kids look up to, they're typically not people in their family. They're typically, because a lot of the people in their family may have chose this same fate, this same lifestyle. It's normally the people that they see on screens. I'm tired of watching our children with stacks of money in their hand, acting like they're talking on the phone. You see that pose? Is that like duck lips or something? They get a stack of money.
Stack of money, yep.
Yeah, and it's like, what is that for? And number one, you're just telegraphing to the whole world that you're walking around with this much money on you. And then this is another thing, and you may be able to speak to this because I know you do taxes and stuff like that. The biggest fraud ever is our banking system, and we're caught up in that. We're caught up in a system to where they say, let me keep your money for you, right? So I'm going to keep your money. You have to have a certain amount of money in your bank at all times. If it falls below that, we'll charge you. But we're also going to charge you a monthly fee for holding on to your money, right? Then we're going to loan your money out to people so we can make interest on your money, right?
Right.
And then you'll come to the bank to get a loan and we'll tell you no. We'll tell you you can't have it. You can't have a loan. You are not afforded the same opportunities as the same people that live outside of your community. And not only that, we'll make your community worth less. Look at that, worth less.
Yeah.
Worthless. We'll make your community worthless. You got what I'm saying? So that's a deep thought in my head. And I don't mean to keep expanding, and it seems like we get farther and farther away sometimes. But my question always becomes, what molds our culture? Why are we stuck in place? Is it from the things that are molding our culture? Is it from what they tell us we are and what we echo? Would our children selling their souls to be rappers or these sports icons, and in reality, in order to do some things, you got to do it a certain way. So if you're going to rap and you ain't rapping about, because they always talking about what the people want. Well, no. Even if you go shopping, they'll tell you flat out, you don't know what you want. You typically learn that in business. Your customer don't know what they want. You have to tell them what they want. And a lot of y'all sit there and say, oh, I know what I want. Well, go buy a car. Go buy a car. And then they start throwing all these features on you. And
Yeah.
oh, you need this 6-disc changer. Well, I don't know that they do that anymore, but they'll be like, oh, you need XM radio, Sirius radio. You need
That's the new
freaking-
sell is the Sirius
Yeah.
radio and everything like that.
You need this antenna. You need this. You need that.
You need the aux cord.
Exactly. So they're going to upsell you anyway because they already know you don't know what you want. The only one that don't know what they want, the only one that don't know that they don't know what they want is you, the consumer. But it's the same way with these raps and stuff like that. It's like the record labels are telling them what they're going to rap about, what they're going to say. And if they don't, they get shelved. I mean, I'm literally tired of it now. I can't say I ain't never shook my ass to some freaking crazy ass rap. I can't. And I don't have nothing against rap. I truly don't. I just have something against poisoning our community. You know? That's it.
But to me, it all sounds the same for the past 6 or 7 years because everybody rapping about the same thing, just over a different beat.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
You know,
It's always the same thing over a different beat. People talking about they got the chopper. Like I want to hear one person talk about something and they ain't got a chopper. You know, they sipping on something or popping pills and that's the new thing, really. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say people don't do crack no more, but the big thing is pills. The big thing now. And there's so many people that's doing them. There's so many people that's taking them. But once again, these are the things that's chiseling our culture into this weird ass masterpiece that we see before us today. You got what I'm saying? It's really, really, really weird.
but it always been like that since the 60s and 70s. It's just differently. You know, they was doing drugs back then.
Yeah.
But they wasn't out there. Everybody knew, but it wasn't like they was putting in the music. And if they were, they was using other words.
Well, see, no, because back
and things
then,
here, they just flat out saying lean and Molly and
Yeah.
all this stuff. But back then, they were doing the same thing. But if they said it, they called it a different name. And that was it. You know what I mean? And
well, back then was more about revolution and shit. Back then was more like, yo, fight the power. Back then was more like, but don't get me wrong.
I don't know.
There's some songs,
stuff
yeah.
I've know they show if the channels they have now shows a lot of like they was just doing a lot of black exploitation and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I was watching these the movies and I was like, well, wait, they was still about this and that, but they were easing in. So you have that one black person or two. It's basically picking back off of the slavery, how they separated the light skin from the dark skin. The next step was make one better, which was the light skin at the time. And then when when slavery was over, what else you want to do to put them up against it? Well, pick somebody that they know they can control, give them everything, have them have the jewelry on, the nice clothes, the nice shoes, and then send them to his people. So he's walking around, everybody idolizing him. Oh, dang, I want that, I want this, I want that. Well, what you got to do? You got to work to get that. So now they working you. They be like, well, you need to do what I say. So now you technically they basically made you back a slave, but they had to put out something, make it like, oh, well, slavery's over and things like that. But it always starts with one person. Fix them up, put them in a community. Community sees it, the community wants that. So now they're running out here. Money this, money that, blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, like you said, but when people got their minds right, then they was like, all right, our community's together. Let's not do that. Then that's when they doing the drugs.
Well, see,
And you know what I mean? And so it's just like, you can't win.
well, I think
know.
I think that for the most part, I think because we typically in this country, because we typically never had anything, I think that we want everything. And so, or maybe it's in our blood that we were kings and queens and we lived in a better society, and it's just in our DNA, which makes us want finer things. Or maybe somewhere along the line, we feel like having finer things define who we are. You know what I mean? It makes us look the part, if you will. Because there's a lot of people who won't have shit, and they'll spend their last dollar trying to look the part.
Yeah.
I once heard a woman say that her mother told her, if you're going to deal with a man, when he approaches you, look at his shoes. His shoes will tell you everything about him. And she swore up and down to that was like a golden nugget of wisdom. Oh, he could be broke as hell, but if he has some nice shoes on, you know what I mean? It's
Gators.
crazy. It's just really, really crazy. Can you read some of them
Snake
comments?
All right. All right. Oh, Tyrone said, "What's up?"
What's good, Tyrone?
Oh, that's the.
Yeah, you gotta scroll up. I was asking.
You was
Chris to
asking about the
post her
sites?
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Phoenicia got her blog on FB. Fight for Nisha. Tyrone got 10th of Life.
Of course.
And then Christy has Unapologetically Speaking and Chester City Sweeps.
It's a project. Yeah. What's going on, Tyrone? Dante said Christy Barnes. No, the one where you offer services for $40.
I was
Oh, Christy said, Dante Hollis, you know nothing over here is just $40. I pray for those girls every night. Let me tell y'all, listen, all I honestly know is that we need to come back center. We need to come back center, and this has been like my biggest thing, like anymore. I feel myself banging my head against the wall, trying to figure out how to bring us together and how to break the curses, you know, how to break the curses of that we've been afflicted with. And it's really difficult to do. It's really difficult to do because I think once you reside within a system and you reside in that system for so long, it's hard to break it. I was in the military for 15 years. It's things to this day that it's hard for me to break the habit of because I've been in it so long. Now, we're talking about generations of our culture being abused in America. Generations of people actively plotting against us to keep us down, to hold us back. That's deep. That's real deep. How do you get outside of that? How do you get away from that when your culture has been subjected to these things for so long? You know what I mean? It's definitely not it's not an easy task. I'm gonna take a break real quick just to tell y'all on July the 22nd at Dream Event Space, 517 Avenue of the States. It starts at 7 p.m. We are presenting a show called Slick Talk, hosted by Slick the Hitman. So I've been advertising for it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you get a moment, come through, check it out. Come through, check it out. Come through, check it out. Now back from this that little commercial break. I'm gonna get you to read these off in a second too, bro. But I want y'all to understand something. These are things we also need to save our children from. See, we need to stop subscribing to the it's okay to feel how you want to feel and do what you want to do type lifestyle that America is pushing upon all of its people. Now, everything, you have to be responsible all the time for other people's feelings and other people's beliefs. And yes, it's okay if somebody is this and somebody is that. It's all good and fine. But let me tell y'all something. What it actually does is help people in a whole lot of instances justify their bullshit. That's just what it does. Helps people justify their bullshit. Let me tell you, man, I'm having such a freaking panic attack right now. It's ridiculous. I don't know why. I can't even shake this joint. It is just up in my bones. But I think just worrying about all of this stuff as much as I do, to ingest it every day, to think about it every day, you know, to talk about it, you know, as much as I do, it's a scary feeling. It's a scary feeling. It's a scary feeling when you have children. It's a scary feeling if you don't have children, when you just have relatives. It's a scary feeling. I was talking to one of my friends earlier, someone who's Caucasian, and they was telling me about a situation that they was in. And it's a really good friend. I known this friend for years, and I actually felt a little, I don't know what I was feeling as I was hearing the story of what transpired in their life, but I kept thinking to myself like, well, shit, that's a black person's life 24/7. Like, that's what we go through all the time. Like, if these are your biggest worries, you know what I mean, then you don't have much to worry about. But to them, of course, it's real because it's what they're going through. And then I felt like a crappy friend because of the advice I gave. And the advice I gave was, and I meant this from the bottom of my heart, the advice I gave was, you're white. Go in there, cry, tell them you've never been in trouble before. Tell them about the stuff that you're about to go through. Tell them about the hardships you're going to have with your family if you get in trouble. The hardships you're going to have with your kids. How it's going to, you know, restrict your life. And cry. And I said, you are afforded from birth this weird birthright where if you go in there and you act remorseful, even if you don't feel remorseful, most likely you're going to get off. It felt bad saying that. It felt even worse knowing that it's the truth. But for them, in their eyes, it's the worst thing. And they said, you know what? I'm going to fight them. And I said, you know what? Go ahead and fight them, because I would if I was you. But I said the sad part is because they offered them a plea deal. I said the sad part about everything is plea deals are something they offer our men and women all the time. And a lot of times people accept the plea deals because they're afraid. Because they're afraid. Look, you take this plea deal now and you can avoid the chance of getting 10 years to life, 5 years to life, doing 3 years in prison if you take this plea deal. And so you got to ask yourself after a while, like, damn, is it worth it? But when people are afraid, when people have this uncertainty, when they typically, they have uncertainty about their future with the certainty that they know how this shit goes, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to choose the plea. They're going to cop the plea. So it's easy for me to tell a Caucasian person in the same situation something different than what I would tell, you know, an African American, you know? And it just felt bad doing it. It felt bad saying it out loud because I already know it, but I'm saying this out loud. And I'm saying it to a Caucasian person. And so I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel weird? It's the same way I feel about fucking when I was in the military. Man, let me tell you something. You would not catch me eating watermelon. Them 15 years I did in the military, I did not touch a slice of watermelon. Just how I felt. And if I saw a black person eating watermelon, I thought to myself like, man, how dare you eat that in front of these folks? It's just a piece of fucking watermelon, dude. But I couldn't help but feel the way I felt because I know what so many people felt about us. And I've heard people say so many things. And I don't want people walking around thinking that's true. But it shows how much I have been affected by the social constructs that America has built against us. Really has. It's some shit to look at. I mean, did you eat anything while you was in the military? Did you eat the stereotypical things?
Chicken, you mean? Well, of course, chicken fajitas and all that.
Yeah.
Chicken, rice and chicken.
I'm not talking
orange
about chicken fajitas, brother. I'm talking about fried chicken. Fried chicken.
Who frying chicken in California?
Shit. Did you get fried chicken in California?
Where?
On base?
Well, I ain't eat it because that's
Shit.
I had everything else, I think, except fried chicken in California. They ain't, because they look like it wasn't real fried chicken. But watermelon, the only time I had watermelon is when they had alcohol in it. You know, they had the big cut half.
Hold on. Let me address something. This ain't I'm hoping you don't take this as an attack. Read the last comment that popped up, and then I'll let you go back up to the top.
Dante, he said, Mike, did you eat fried chicken in the military?
Sir, not in front of white folks. Read the comment right above Dante's. So that's the one I wanted to talk about. David Wilson
said, fear is a hold of the devil. Jesus knows the truth. Call on salvation.
Now, let me be. This isn't an attack or anything, but what I am going to say is this. Way back before Christianity and Islam invaded Africa, before Africa was colonized, let me point something out. If we look at our ancestry, our ancestors, they prayed to their ancestors. They prayed to the people who have passed. They prayed to their elders and stuff that passed away. They believed, our ancestors believed in that. They believed that our ancestors guided us through life. We didn't believe in Jesus. We didn't believe in Allah. We didn't believe in any of that. Now, Christianity and Islam was all part of colonizing things. It truly is. Now, that's not me saying it's right or wrong. No disrespect. It's not part of me saying it's right or wrong, but what it is me saying is, look, I never seen God face. I don't know what God looks like. And when I call on God, it's very rare that God says something to me. And it's so rare that I can't tell you one time that he has. And I could say that things happened that made me feel like his presence was there. But even when I speak on God, I can't say that it's Jesus' father. I can't say that it's Allah. I can't tell you who, what, where, when God is. I literally cannot. So the only thing that I can honestly, truly tell you when it comes down to God is that I believe in a higher power. I can't say that if I call on Jesus' name, that I'm going to be better because I know the history of Jesus and my people. I know the history of colonization. I know the history of slavery. I know the greatness that we came from. And even at the apex of that greatness, we wasn't talking about Jesus. And that's not me trying to be foul. It's not me trying to be evil. It's not me trying to be mean. It's like, what do you do when you know the fact of something and you know the tradition of what you've been taught? And when you know where that tradition came from? I mean, hell, Christmas was a pagan holiday. And this is not me just spewing all types of weird shit. This comes from investigating. This comes from knowledge and knowing. God tells you to read your own Bible. He does. And he tells you churches, when you gather, you can gather with one or more people in his name, and that's church. Tithing wasn't money. Tithing, everybody was to take 10% of their food and bring it to a hall, and literally it was like a party and celebration. And 10% of that meant whether you had abundant fields or whether you barely had anything in your pantry. Man has turned things into many things. But when I say man has turned things into many things, that's not the exclusion of a higher being. It's not an exclusion of a God, because let me tell you something. I'm not so foolish to believe that I am the biggest thing in this universe. I'm not so foolish to believe that there is nothing outside of me. But what I will say is, because of the things that I've learned and because of the things that I know, it damn sure brings up a lot of questions in my heart because of what we've been taught. You've been taught Christianity, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it never made sense to me.
Yes.
It doesn't add up. I'm not just saying that knocking on, like you said, we're not knocking on nobody. It's just that my mind goes into a different direction. And like you said, with research and listening to different people's way of Christianity, you know, I mean, I know it's so many different the Christians now.
Yeah, so
you
many
know, nobody's not
different
doing
sects
by the
of it.
words. Yeah, it's sublet. So which
Yeah.
one is who? Which one is the real one?
What's right or wrong in a way? And then I'm gonna toss something. I'm gonna toss something out there for y'all to understand. So at the end of the day, if you say all you want to say, you can say anything you want to say, but this is something that I never understood. I know I'm getting off topic yet again, but y'all know that's what I do. This is something I never understood. So I'm just a man. I am literally just a man. So I can get mad at my kids and put them on punishment. But even when I put them on punishment later on, I'm oftentimes thinking, did the punishment fit the crime? Is this justified? Should it be as long as it is? Man, did I whoop their ass too much? Like, I'm thinking a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, there is no crime that my child could commit that would make me punish them for eternity, would make me punish their soul for eternity. There is nothing I can think of in this world that I would think that pretty much, and even the worst person, it's a reason why they do the shit they do. And chances are they suffered at the hands of another person. Sometimes people say that some people are just evil, and maybe that's true. But what's the percentage on that? And how do you find that out? And how many truly evil souls have you met? There are people who do fucked up things, but I guarantee you crack a serial killer open deep enough, you dig deep enough into their souls, and I promise you there is a reason that they're as fucked up as they are. And chances are they fell victim to another man's hands, another woman's hands, anybody's hands. You got what I'm saying?
Like the bully syndrome.
Yeah.
A bully, you know, this bully doing all this stuff, bullying kids, come to find out they getting their asses beat at home every single night, no food, and nothing, you know.
Well,
so,
they say that about molesters and pedophiles and stuff like that. Like a lot of times they'll say that those people were victims of the same thing that they freaking perpetrate on other people. That's some weird shit. But guess what? It's what it is. I don't make this shit up. It's just what it is. You got what I'm saying? You want to read some comments, Ro?
Yep. Starting from the ones we missed, or just start here?
You can go up a little.
It wasn't that much. It was just right here.
Okay, start right there.
Christine said, I agree that YOLO mentality can have you in situations where you can't get yourself out of.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to be responsible for themselves or actions. They rather blame everyone because then they don't have to accept responsibility to own their own shit. I knew it. I only saw the S there. I was like, yeah, that probably ain't shit. Too many entitled people and not enough humble people.
I agree.
Definitely now, yeah. That's just, oh wait, what are y'all talking
That's,
about?
that's that $40 thing. Don't pay no attention to Dante.
Okay. They back on that. We went to that already. So we
Yeah.
can go back down to the bottom. And Christina said, God gave us the ability to think for ourselves. Everything is left up to everyone's own interpretation. You take a story and people add or take away from their own benefit. Control. Grown said, and teach your kids to use these methods every chance they get.
Yes, indeed.
Christina said, also, if you have an intimate relationship with God, you will see that God allows us to hold ourselves accountable for our actions. We get to choose our reality. People give too much credit to the devil and continually do bad things because the devil is the scapegoat. But it also go to the concept of Jesus dying on the cross for our sins. So does that mean the future sins, right? So that means
yeah,
whatever
it's
you
gonna
do
be for
now
everybody shit.
is like you already forgiven for it.
Well,
That's the stuff I don't understand. That's the part I don't. Okay, it's like, well, because then you go to church and they say, well, if you do this, you can be, go to hell.
yeah.
But Jesus died on the cross for our sins.
Well,
So, and I feel as though some people use that concept, that think like that, and like, oh, well, shit, I don't give a fuck. I ain't going to go to hell because Jesus already, got my back. He already vouched.
well, that sounds like the. Okay, so in Ephesians 6:5-8, Paul states, "Slaves, be obedient to your human masters with fear and trembling and sincerity of heart, as to Christ," which is Paul instructing slaves to obey their masters. Similar statements regarding obedient slaves can be found in Colossians 3:22-24, 1 Timothy 6:1-2, and Titus 2:9-10. That's 9-10. But this is the whole thing. If you're saying, slaves, be obedient to your human masters with fear and trembling and sincerity of heart as to Christ. That means that what he's saying, and this is in the Bible. This is literally in the Bible. So you can't tell me if, number one, if God is supposed to be a jealous God, make up your mind. If God is a jealous God, why would it even be mentioned in the Bible to be obedient to your masters as you are to Christ?
Well, it was translated. Maybe they translated it wrong.
Bro, let me tell you something. Then that whole damn thing is just wrong. Like, you can't have me believing. See, and this is what I'm talking about the inconsistencies. And then when you realize how, man, let me tell you something. One of the most violent religions in this whole freaking world is Christianity. The Spanish Crusades and stuff. You know how many people were murdered? How many people, man, they damn near wiped the Incans out. I think it was like 5 million Incans, and by the time they was done, I think it was only like 250,000 left. And they stole their gold and burned their idols and did everything they could possibly do, calling it all blasphemous. And along the way, raping and killing. They brought venereal diseases over here to the freaking Indians. You got what I'm saying? But this is why they say with customs, like, you can't just bring something from another country and like an animal or something. You can't just bring another animal over here and introduce it into this ecosystem. And that was the same thing when they come. Their diseases and shit wiped out a lot of fucking people because those diseases weren't indigenous to over here. This is why I'm saying it's getting weird.
It's the reason why the lands were separated. Remember you said what you call them when they all was together?
Oh, it was Pangea
The
when it was all
Pangea.
together.
And something came.
Yeah.
That meteor came and killed the dinosaurs and put a hole and broke up everything. Well, we're not getting too far off a topic because I think that religion is a part of shaping the culture. Because you're sitting here making music. I'm not just the rappers. Anybody talking about hoe this bitch, saying all this stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm about to fuck the night and all this stuff. But then you up here wanting to be doing scriptures and you win an award and you saying thank you God and all that stuff. So thank you, thanking them for
it's
that
like-
shit that you saying.
Yeah.
And the stuff
It
that
get
you may have
weird.
done behind closed doors that he sees you do.
Well, once again, I think it's all stuff that people have learned. That when they were little, they watched the word shows, and when black people get up there, who do they thank? They thank God. That's what they do. I want to thank my mom, God. You know, every once in a while you'll hear Dad. You know, but normally it's like, I want to thank my mom. I want to thank God. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying once again that I'm not sitting up here trying to say like God is not real. But what I am saying is the concept of religion and the way that it's built and the way that it's been used over the years, like how do you know what you're following is right or wrong? Even when you know that the Bible is literally a collection of stories. And there were stories that was left out of the Bible totally. And who picked these stories for them to be in the Bible? You got what I'm saying? So I literally think, let me tell you, how clever is somebody to come into your whole society, bring it to its knees, destroy your God with the God of their choosing, and then make you pray to that God to be saved. So not only did they bring you your destruction, they bought you your salvation, and they tell you this is who you're supposed to pray to. This is how you're supposed to pray. And I'm not trying to be a dick, but just think about that. Just think about that. That's like you signing up for a trial. They give you the worst disease that's incurable that you could possibly get. Tell you they have a cure, but never show you or anything. And they tell you, you pray to that cure for every day, every freaking fucking day. And no matter what they do to you, you pray to that cure. You be a better version of yourself. Even though your God has been whitewashed, because even the picture of Jesus literally is not Jesus. Literally is not Jesus. But guess what? It doesn't stop people from hanging it in their house. I mean, help me understand that. Help me understand why so many households, so many of our parents and our grandparents have these pictures of a man posing as Jesus. They'll have altars. I've been in Latin homes where it was altars and stuff. And you got this Jesus on the wall that's not even Jesus. But it's a part, to me personally, it's just a part of superiority, because what it does show is a part of white superiority and white supremacy, because it shows us that the highest thing in this land, the highest thing in our consciousness, the highest thing that's otherworldly is in the image of our oppressors. Think about that. The person responsible for your salvation is in the image of your oppressors. I mean, when do we start saying we need to look into these things ourselves? You got what I mean? And even in knowing where civilization started, or where science tells us it started from, the cradle of civilization was supposed to be Africa. And the people indigenous to that continent are what color? And it's not to say that white people don't live in Africa. It's not what I'm saying. But most of those people, through generations, have grown up there. But that doesn't mean that's where they started. You got what I'm saying? Don't mean it's where they started. I don't know. Can you read some of those comments, Ro?
Yeah, Dante said, Reverend Thaddeus Kirkland, please put Mike in his place when he's talking down on Christianity.
Ah! Yo.
Grown man say even the devil was once an angel. Yeah.
Hey, yo, I wanna explain something to everybody too. And see, I be looking up so much stuff and researching so much stuff that it's ridiculous in religion. It's ridiculous. And so I want to explain something to you. So L, the word, the letters EL together is L. It's a generic word for God that could be used for any God. You know what I mean? So I'm putting that out there, including Hadad, Moloch, or Yahweh. You got what I'm saying? However, it is said in Genesis 14:18-20 that Abraham accepted the blessing of El, and Melchizedek, the king of Salem and high priest of its deity El Elyon, blessed him. And so check this out. If El is another word for God, think about when we speak of like the angels. So all of the angels, their names actually have L in it. Now y'all probably like, oh, get the hell out of here. But Samuel L, Ezekiel, Michael, and when you think of cherubs and stuff, they're not the same thing. But look over all your angel names. All of them have L in there. All of them have God in it. You got what I'm saying? So thinking on that level, I think we have to open ourselves up to a new way of thinking. We just do, because everything we know about religion, we've been told or we listen to. When you go to church, typically Christmas, Easter, all of that jazz, y'all getting the same sermons re-rocked over and over again. There's nothing new under the sun in church. You don't learn new lessons in church. You just keep learning the same lessons over and over again. And to me personally, Bibles are too thick to be learning the same lessons over and over again. They just are. Why don't they talk about those slavery verses? Why don't we have a conversation about that? Why don't we have a conversation about the Garden of Eden? And most people don't know that the forbidden fruit wasn't even a fucking apple, because apples didn't exist there. And most scientists and most experts think that it was a fig. They don't even think it was an apple. But the story that we learned was an apple in the Garden of Eden. So many things have been changed. So we have to think about that. We do. You got what I'm saying? So, can you read those comments, please?
Grown man said the word holy means different.
But this is what I'm saying. Once again, when you don't really, so when you take things at face value, you're going to take them for what you've been taught that a word means. Just think about that. You're going to take them for what you think the word means, and what you think the word means is what you've been told the word means. So when we think about that, we've really got to look at that as a whole. See, the whole thing is we need to honestly open up our minds, open up our hearts, and we need to really find out what's right for us. Just all I'm trying to tell y'all is this. I know y'all probably thinking, oh my God, he just talking bad about God, but no, I'm not.
Well, Dante said you're going to hell.
Dante don't know where I'm going. Dante, you don't know where I'm going. But everybody, you might think I'm talking bad about God, but I'm not. I'm talking about man and how deceitful man is, and how man uses these things to send us in the directions that man wants us to grow. So at what point do we take back the responsibility we have to ourselves, to teach ourselves, to learn our culture, to learn what all of these things, to learn the truth so that we can honestly discern what the truth is and what a lie is. There's a difference between the truth and what you're told, because you're not always told the truth. You got what I'm saying? It's something like when we went to school, right? We were taught that the earth had a crust, a mantle, and a core. We were taught that the core of the earth was molten lava. So, how would you feel if I tell you today that's what we learned in school, but how would you feel today if I told you, honestly, and look it up yourself, if I told you today that they don't know what the center of the earth is made of and they just are guessing? We don't have anything capable of drilling to the center of the earth. They don't know what the earth is made of in the center, but they just made a guess. But we learned that as fact. The same way we learned as fact that Christopher Columbus discovered America. And we believe all of these things until it's widely accepted that it's no longer true. But it's no longer true. We believed in what someone told us, what we were taught. So even in science, not just religion, but even in science, we get taught a whole lot of things that motherfuckers don't know nothing about. That's it. Hands down. Tell me if I'm lying, because if I'm lying, I'm flying, and I ain't took off yet. So as I said, this ain't an anti-religion speech. It's not an anti-God speech. I think it's more like an anti-religion conversation. And I don't even think it's an anti-religion conversation. Actually, I just think it's anti-bullshit man conversation. I'm against it.
You're against the bullshit, not the Bible.
Yeah. Read that.
Christina said, people only use verses that they feel would relate to more. If you sat down and picked the Bible apart to show its true meaning, we would be shocked. We don't read to interpret, we just read to read. Mm-hmm. We are afraid to ask questions for fear. Sounds a bit mild. Okay, we are afraid to ask questions for fear of getting ridiculed against the pastor or priest. In all actuality, they are no different. God appointed us all to deliver the message, so who's to say those people aren't delivering a message only to keep people blinded from the truth? She always said, Christina also said, people say ignorant because they are afraid of the truth, and those who dare to challenge the truth get scolded. They get isolated, seen as a rebel. Grown man said, could you imagine we didn't have no religion? The world will be crazy, bro. Dante said, bro, move far away from like it's possible.
Ain't nobody thinking about Dante. Look, so number one, I'm going back to Grown Man's comment, and I'm going to act like I don't see Dante's. Let me tell you something. You absolutely are correct. If we didn't have religion, this world would be crazy. You see, because we as human beings, we need something to keep us grounded. We need a lightning rod, if you will. And the lightning rod needs to be connected to our conscience. It needs to be connected to our sense of right and wrong. It just does. And so religion kind of keeps us there. Heaven and hell keeps us there. Or maybe not heaven and hell, but the fear of heaven and hell keeps us there. See, all I'm trying to point out is simply this. We've been taught a whole lot of things, but let's just be real. If you think about your ancestry, was that even part of anything from your heritage, from your ancestry, from your lineage? No, it's not. And how do we know what was forced upon us that we so widely believe and accept today, knowing that the Crusades and all, knowing how England basically the English tried to own like everything, and they pushed religion, they pushed Christianity every fucking where they went. They destroyed cultures and pushed Christianity across the globe. So what I'm saying is, how do you know? How do you literally know that hell was not pushed upon you? How do you know it? We don't. That is literally all I'm saying. I can never deny the fact that there is a God. Matter of fact, I pray to God and everything else. And I keep telling people all the time, I identify Christian because deep down in my heart and soul, I am literally afraid to go against that because of heaven and hell. But see, I also know that God gave us free will. And God gave us the ability to think, to grow, to learn. Because in a sense, maybe he wants us to grow closer to him. Maybe he does. Maybe he does. And then when they say that we are sheep and the parishioners in church are pretty much the priests or the reverend's flock, I almost hate to believe that God put us in the hands of just anybody. Because let me tell you something. There are people out there like Jim Jones, who killed all them folks. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Jim Jones. He got up and left America and everything. He was a really powerful dude. But y'all could read his story. I'm not going to get into it. But what I'm saying is, if you want to be a preacher, if you want to be a priest, you know what I mean? You can just say, I want to dedicate my life to this and start doing this. That doesn't literally mean that God chose you to be that. That could be something that you wanted to be. Shit, there's people right now that's firemen that no longer want to be a fireman. There's people that want to be a dentist but no longer want to be a dentist. I mean, people make a decision to be who they want to be in this lifetime. They do. And they make decisions and choices to travel within that. Like, we don't, unfortunately, most people did not choose their religion. They were taught it. Unfortunately, it just kind of go that way. So you inherited religion from your family. And some of us, we get older and we say, we don't want to do this that way no more. Because maybe a church turned us off. Maybe a mosque turned us off. Maybe a synagogue turned us off. Maybe a Buddhist temple turned us off. And we just decided this couldn't possibly be what God meant. But once again, that's man turning you off. It's not necessarily the religion. But when you deal with organized faiths, these are the things that happen. Can you read some comments, please?
I tried to keep it together. Oh, here we go. Roman said, we can't do nothing about the God thing. We can't do nothing about the slavery thing in Africa. And he just said, people use the Bible for comfort of their situations. Dante said, speaking of lightning rods. Roman said, but what we could do is take responsibility for our community.
Damn.
And he also said, the great experiment, at the end of the day, we all humans.
Yes, indeed.
Kanisha said, some people identify Christianity because of family tradition. And Grumman said, and Christians gave the pastor the power to hold us down. Is a family in Chester. I'm not going to put their name out there. But their family owned slaves in Aston, black folk.
Wow.
Black folks.
Well, see, this is the deep part about everything. Once again, we put all of our faith sometimes not in God, but the people who run our churches. We do. And for all intents and purposes, they're nonprofits. So the church collects, this is another thing I was telling y'all earlier. The church collects your tithes, and the church takes that money and put that money into a bank that won't even give you a fucking loan in your own community. How sad is that? The church takes your power out of the community. And what are those tithes generally used for? We say those tithes, let's say they're used to help families in the community and this, that, and the third. Let me tell you something. There's rules and regulations that you have to follow to even access that from church. And sometimes the church won't help you if you're not a parishioner, unless they chose to give out turkeys or coats. And you best believe that if they're doing that, sometimes it's typically a drive or something to try to get more parishioners. Because church is big business. Let's be real. The Catholic Church knew it. And these churches across America know it. You get these mega churches, these mega churches that's making millions and millions of dollars off the backs of their parishioners. And half the time you get people out there talking about they can heal people and they're going to help you walk and they're going to this and they're going to that. Man, it's so many things we have to look out for. All I'm saying is we need to be smart. We need to be wise. We need to be careful about the things that we let into our lives. And I'm not saying be careful about letting God into your life, but what I am saying is do some investigation yourself. Read some things, ask some questions. Don't always trust in the pastor to like the way that you should walk, because guess what? I got news for you. When you die, the pastor can't get you into heaven nor hell. And they don't have a heaven or hell to throw you into. So guess what? You'll be on your own. So take what you hear, yes. Take what you hear, but seek the truth for yourself. Because guess what? Sometimes we got to ask ourselves, is ignorance an excuse for not following God's rule or God's law? They say that about man's law. Like, ignorance is no excuse. Just because you didn't know the law don't mean they won't lock your ass up. You don't believe me? Carry a gun in New York. Leave Pennsylvania with your gun in your car, go to New York, get pulled over, and let them discover you have a firearm on you. Watch what happens. And then use your excuse as, well, I didn't know. Better yet, I tell you what. Ask your friend, is it okay if you carry a firearm over there? Okay, so you got the word of somebody who said, yeah, it's okay. Then you go up there. And when they lock you up, say, well, my friend told me. That's like going to heaven or going to judgment then saying, oh, well, the pastor told me. No, you better find out shit for yourself.
You're supposed to have a relationship with God anyway.
Yeah.
It's a personal relationship.
Yeah.
What people say, you know what I mean, things like that. So
Yeah, read some of them comments, please.
Christina said, that money thickens most pastors' pockets. When the last time you have seen churches walk the community? You have people struggling in the church, and the church act like it doesn't exist. Too much of the money is not supplying the needs of the people, but supplying the building to collect more money. And that's what remember, you heard about that story of that black chick who won the lottery? And then the pastor in the church sued her, and got I think all of the money.
Get out of here.
Because she was going to the church,
They was helping her out or something?
I don't know if they. No, she.
Wait,
she
hold on. Wait, is that a real story?
Yes.
She was praying, and because she hit it.
No, because he helped her, praying to get her out of her situation. Her boyfriend kept going back and forth for jail.
Dude, I gotta look that up.
She was looking. She was doing and everything. So the preacher was like, we was there helping her heal and praying for her and everything like that.
That's called your job.
Right. And I believe she said she was giving all she can to them to help her. So when she played the lottery and she won all that millions of dollars, they
said
sued
you
her
gonna
ass.
need to come up off that. Because of my prayer, my extra prayer, you hit. Shit. I tell you what, don't pray for me. I pray for myself. I will pray
that's
for myself.
shaping a culture. That's because she was black and she thought that's what to do.
I don't know. I gotta
pray
look
to be
that
better.
up. I gotta look that up. I need some names. I need a
name?
place. Hold on, wait. Oh, Christina must have heard the story.
She said she would give the church some money, right? And once they found out how much they wanted more what she wanted to give. Yep.
And so They
Yeah,
got
right.
awarded more through court.
Yes, they took her to
Get the
court.
fuck out.
So
of here.
she was giving her some, but then they wanted more.
I don't know. I can't. Mm-mm.
But that's why I said I'd be telling people, you see, you got to pay attention and stuff happens. The one guy, he got audited, the one church guy. He had everything done at his house, of course, because, it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
So the bull, I don't even think he had to pay taxes on property tax or anything because his house was technically part of the church
Part
property.
of the church. Yeah.
Cars, the clothes. He said, I needed the clothes to go to the events and everything like that. He needed a nice fancy car.
Let me tell you something. If she actually won, if they actually won that case against her, man, get the fuck.
I think
outta here.
they did. They
Stop
got
the
my
world
money.
because I want to get off. You stop the world from spinning right now because I'm getting off and going somewhere else. I'm sorry. I'm no longer in for this.
Why do you
ride.
think every time somebody mentions about religion, I just sit here and just like, all right,
Well,
we're gonna be talking about this. And then but the pastor, there's so many crazy stories like nobody don't understand. Like the guy he closed when they was going through it in his town, right?
Yeah.
His church didn't get flooded, so I thought that the church opened up its doors so people who got their houses flooded at least can
Stay
at
there.
the church, stay at the church.
Yeah.
He closed them doors, put a lock on it, and flew out the damn.
Wow. Let me tell you something.
I said,
But that's
"Yo,
why I
that's
say once
crazy."
again, you got to ask yourself, where is your faith at? Is your faith in man or is your faith in God? But once again, it shapes our culture because this is something that we were given. We were given God and how good God and Jesus and everything is Christianity. I'm saying we were given Christianity. You got what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that it's good, bad, or indifferent, but I am saying, once again, we were given Christianity. And then we were told how to worship and taught how to worship because guess what? Prior to having Christianity, our ancestors didn't know what that was. And so the traditions that was within the religion had to be beat into us and taught into us. And if you wasn't doing it right or whatever, practicing whatever you believed at any point in time was a bad thing.
I remember her face. That's
Yeah. Well, can you pull up your phone and see if you can pull that up? It was a bad thing. You got what I'm saying? So when it's all said and done, we truly have to know and understand the roots of all of these things that have been put in our life and that's shaping our culture. You know what I mean? Maybe we were given religion to keep us docile as well. Because in religion, it was always about turning the other cheek and forgiving people for the things that they did to us, for the things that they did to our culture. Forgiving people every day. Man, let me tell you something. I have to personally ask. I need to know, God, if you love me, if you love us, then why are we born to bleed? Why is it that every time we turn around, we get the worst of everything? And then half the time, does this make it right? Does it make it okay? Man, let me tell you something. How many people died praying on their knees or died praying as a noose was put around their neck, praying to the new God that they got? And even if we saying, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, is this how they do it in heaven? Because if it is, aren't you afraid to go? And of course, man is nasty. It's what's in a man's heart that makes this world the way it is. Well, when do we get enough hearts to pull us up out of this? Oh, that's it. Hold on. Let me read y'all this. First off, I'm trying to see where this source comes from. I want y'all to know that I don't believe in everything, and I like to check sources. But
I think that's blacknews.com.
see, that's something I probably wouldn't be looking at. Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte. I got to look that up. SHALLOTTE, North Carolina. 27-year-old Marie Holmes, The woman from North Carolina that recently won the 188 million Powerball lottery is back in the news. The first time it was about her spending 21 million to bail her boyfriend out. I heard that. I heard that on the radio. But this time a local pastor is reportedly suing her for 10 million for reneging on a verbal contract. Wow. Holmes, an African-American mother of 4, took home a lump sum of, wait for it, 127 million after she hit the jackpot back in February 2015. And now Pastor Kevin Matthews, who happens to be white, is suing her for backing out of their verbal agreement. Matthews said that he is experiencing emotional and mental distress because Holmes no longer wants to give him. Finish reading that, please. Wait, it's somewhere in there. Man, I felt that coming.
Wait, where'd
You
you
said
say
because right here.
Oh, because of the emotional distress
Oh, right
and
here,
mental.
right here. Holmes no longer wants to give him 1.5.
Holmes no longer wants to give him 1.5 million that she agreed to give him to purchase land to build a retreat facility. Because of the emotional distress and mental stress they put me through, I had to start taking more medicine for anxiety and depression due to the situation, Matthew said. He even told reporters God led him to her house and he prayed with her. I guess he meant about her original house.
Well, why don't he pray for God to let him hit the lottery since his prayers worked for her?
Was
Why don't
that
he pray
strong,
for
right?
herself?
He also says that he met Holmes and ministered to her and 3 other people on several occasions at her new home. He says that during one of those meetings, he presented a proposal to Holmes about 3 different plans that need financial backing. A $1 million project, a $1.5 million project, and a $2 million project. Matthew says that Holmes agreed to help him with the $1.5 million project, which would be the purchase of land to build a retreat center that he says he had been praying about for years. Meanwhile, Holmes' attorney, Ruth, of the Francis Law Firm, has issued a statement saying that she was not aware of the situation or the lawsuit. And then here you go. This is how you do as a black Joan. It seems that it's true what they say: more money, more problems.
Yeah, you got that right. But once again, that's not even like Pastor B. This is the funny thing. Before y'all presented this article earlier on in this podcast, I was literally saying how God doesn't pick these people to be pastors. If you want to be a pastor, you just say, hey, I want to be a pastor, and you go through the formalities of becoming a pastor. It's like if you say you want to be a doctor, nobody chooses you. You say, I want to be a doctor, and you start studying to become a doctor. It's the same with anything. So at the end of the day, if your prayers, if that pastor truly believed in God and truly believed that his prayers worked for that young lady, then why didn't he start praying for herself? And imagine, what do he look like right now? You're suing this young lady over something you never had. That's like if I got on here and I said, if I hit the Powerball tomorrow, I'll give everybody $100. Is that a verbal contract? Is it? And should everybody be expected to sue me because I said, well, if I hit the Powerball, I give everybody $100? Man, come on, man. Well, it's ridiculous. I don't care. That article just blew my mind. I'm somewhere else with it. Can you read the commercials, please? It's time to pay the bills, ladies and gentlemen. Please give us a moment while we pay the bills. Hit them, bro.
Yes. Silence. Need some silence. Today's show is provided by the Toisin Law, owned and operated by Chester native Enrique Latoisin. The Toisin Law is there for you when you need it most. They can handle all of your legal needs. Support Chester's own The Toisin Law. They handle property transfer, criminal justice, and all other legal needs. Right firm, right now.
Boom.
And we're going to do a shout out to our sponsors, Northern Marketing, Mecca, Nerds Family Chicken. Is that correct?
Kitchen or chicken?
I said,
Jesus.
I'm thinking, well, Nerds Family Kitchen, Inspire, Mind Our Own Businesses, KC Electric, the Boys and Girls Club of Chester, Fresher Inc., TFG Tax Pros, Abstract Kings, LeBron Construction, and once again, the Toys and Law.
Boom. There you go. There you have it. All I'm trying to say is when it's all said and done, I think that we really do honestly need to be careful about who we're letting mold our culture. And we need to ask how our culture was molded. And is these even the things that we should be doing? I tell you wholeheartedly, I believe in God. I believe in a higher power. But the way that we worship, is that the way that it was intended to be? That's the question. I mean, hell, look at all the things that influence our culture. And out of all the things that influence our culture, church is one of the biggest things. But our church, once again, was given to us. It was forced upon us. So what makes it right? Because they said it was right, or because this is what we've learned all these years? And so that becomes the question. I only know about Jesus because my parents told me about Jesus. Because we was made to dress up and go to church. And when I got older, that's what I did. I went to church for a little while. It's what I was taught. But quite honestly, when I think about it, I know my parents was taught from their parents and their parents from their parents. I mean, how far removed are we from slavery? And once it was so beaten so deep into our ancestors, those that came before us, those that were enslaved in America, to which we become the extended offspring of, is what was forced upon them. And now you can't pay somebody to even question it, because that's like when your mom and dad tell you to look both ways before you cross the street. You're going to look both ways. I don't care what nobody say. Well, I have seen people just kind of walk out in the street like, I don't know. But we typically don't question a lot of the lessons that our parents taught us at an early age. But the older we get, we start to rebel. We start to want more. We start to look at life differently, but we don't never look at religion differently. That's all. A lot of us ain't out there reading the Bible from stem to stern, trying to find out everything that it says. A lot of us don't go to church and say, well, Pastor, can you explain these passages? Sometimes I wonder what their explanation would be. And maybe when I was deep and heavy going to church, I wish I had these thoughts then. But I guess I didn't need them, because I always ask questions that I never really got answers to. And I definitely ask questions because it's in my nature. You got what I'm saying? I think we all need to figure out at some point, like, what's for us? Like, what is the truth? And I promise you, it's out there somewhere. We just got to do a lot of digging, you know?
Let's ask those aliens that we didn't know about.
Hey,
Maybe they got the answers.
maybe.
They try to keep us for so long.
Maybe. You never know. You literally never know. I want to let everybody know on July 22nd at Dream Event Space, 517 Avenue of the States in Chester, PA, we are having an open mics night. It is an open mic called Slick Talk. The host for the evening is Slick the Hitman. He will be hosting all of the open mic segments moving forward. Also, there is a comedy show coming up. So Slick Talk will be the third Thursday of every month, starting this July 22nd. Then we will be having a comedy open mic, and that will be the fourth Thursday of every month, but that starts next month. That starts August. So I'm trying to keep everybody up to date and moving. We're also having some vendor events. I have to get all of these dates together, honestly, because I didn't write anything down to bring with me today about all of them, because life has been hectic lately. But I would really appreciate y'all's support in coming out. I'm trying to keep pushing the arts forward in Chester. I'm trying to give artists a place to stand and deliver, their jokes, their poems, their songs. I would love to create, a scenario of a microphone that people can open up and share. You got what I'm saying? Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So what I'm going to do once again is I'm probably going to share a piece with y'all. I'm going to ask Ro to share a piece with y'all. I'm trying to stimulate y'all for, coming out for these upcoming events. But I also wanted to say that I'm not trying to offend anybody this evening. I'm not trying to control, what you think and how you feel. I mean, I would be a fool to try to. And even if I could, I wouldn't. I would just rather we understand certain things. Ask yourself why you feel how you feel. Why do you believe what you believe? Do you believe those things because you were told? Or do you believe those things because you opened up a book, because you did some investigation yourself, because you asked questions, and not of one person, but of many people, because you surrounded yourself with the ammunition you needed to win the war when it comes down to knowledge, to knowing things, to understanding life. That's all I'm trying to say. Go ahead, take it away, bro.
I came from the ground, raised by rain and dirt. As I grow, I'm weakened from the bugs feeding. While the rain becomes too much, the dirt becomes mud, loosening my roots. But I'm strong from the power of the sun, and even in darkness, the moon's light reminds me that day will soon come. And as I stand here, I gradually see my fellow trees fall from nature and eventually from man, but I'm untouched, used as a decoration at the right place at the right time, or I'm just too strong to be knocked down. And now, a building is being built bigger than me, as if to intimidate. But there's room between us and the barricade that keeps us from impact for now. Yet, nature helps me to continue to grow till I'm big enough to overthrow this barricade and take revenge for all the trees that have fallen. I lose branches, leaves, and begin to lose my place by striking whatever, wherever the wind blows until one of us falls, because that's how the story goes.
Ding, ding, ding. So I'm going to share this piece. Like I said, I'm still working on it. I did it earlier. I'm going to do it one more time. And it goes along with some of the thoughts that I've been having. But it says it's not titled yet and it's not finished. So please forgive me. I know you have turned your back on me. It's hard for me to accept. Knowledge is the only thing that I have left. So now I spend my time trying to learn your true face. That's the hard part for me. Knowing I am descended from slavery, stories of Christianity beaten into me, burned into me, raped into me, lynched into me, each limb pulled into different directions until blood spilled and trailed behind the horses, oblivious to what they had done, until the only thing my people could see was the face of your son. This was not our choice. The words we speak today were learned, they say, from the white home. Were learned, bloom, 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 bloom. Let me go back. Each limb pulled into different directions until blood spilled and trailed behind the horses, oblivious to what they had done, until the only thing my people could see was the face of your son. This was not our choice. The words we speak today were learned from the white man's voice, narrated, they say, through your interpretation. Push this beast of burden, building the foundation and financial stability of a nation that we still can't take part in. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. My brethren, can you see why I'm afraid to die? Tears in my eyes for my ancestors who chose the cold, dark depths of the sea, yet thankful that that is the heart that beats in the fireplace within me, my birthright, all I've ever truly owned. Taught to yearn to kneel at the throne of a God that never believed in me, allowed me to be beat until I yearned for grace never shown to me, mercy never afforded me, and free will shackled, bound, while forced to choose my submission or the death or worst of my family. And see, that's the whole thing that I'm trying to, it's not finished, of course, but that's the whole thing I'm trying to get y'all to just think about. To just think about that. Think about that history, and think about the fact that Christianity wasn't the original religion of our people. Just think about that. And people who are not from where the cradle of civilization lies forced these things onto us. If you were not at the beginning, how do you even know what the beginning is? How do you even know what the true belief system was, and how did you adopt these things? So once again, it's not to say that God doesn't exist. It's not to say that God is not there, because I wholeheartedly believe that he is. But what I am trying to say is, let's start asking ourselves, where did all of this come from? And even the book that we read, when it comes down to the Bible, how did that Bible come to be? And I'm telling you, the more you look, the more you read, the more you start to find out, the more you start feeling a little confused. And I think we start feeling a little confused because when it's all said and done, it's not exactly what they told us. It's not exactly so black and white as a perfect little package preached to us. I don't know. Maybe we're too busy to read. Maybe we don't have the time. Maybe, maybe our eternal soul is not worth the effort of you picking up a book and learning something for yourself. Maybe you just want to trust your eternal soul to the person in the pulpit teaching to you. You got what I'm saying? Maybe that's the best direction for you. I don't know. But I feel like I need to. I feel like I need to understand where all of this is coming from. I feel the need to understand where we stand, why we believe what we believe. I seek God's face. I don't necessarily know if it resides in Christianity. I don't know if it resides in Islam. I don't know if it resides in Judaism, or I don't know where it resides at. But I know that I choose to seek what the truth is about it, so at least I know what direction to stand. And if God knows my heart, then he knows how I feel, because I tell him. And the only way that I know how, as a confused man who has been passed down a religion that he never knew anything about. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Wouldn't you agree? Or no?
No, I agree. I think you want answers. But I feel as though by me being spiritual is that if he does show himself, he gonna show his true form. He'll come in the form of someone else, which is usually, like they said, how they ancestors. You know what I mean? So if you have a parent that's gone or a grandparent that passed away, they come and see you in your dreams and stuff like that. So he won't come as himself. He'll come as one of them because that's a familiar face.
Yeah.
You know, you see somebody in a dream and you're like, well, who's this person telling me this? You're like, who that? I ain't listening to that.
Yeah.
But if it's like an ancestor, you're like, oh, okay. You know, so I mean, you never know. I mean, it's so many different things, especially, you know, I mean, it just easy. I just feel like everything is much, like they said, they use the Bible and the verses for comfort and all that stuff. Me, I guess you could say that's why I used spirituality before, but I feel the most comfortable. And unless like you said, you ask questions. If you don't have an answer to it, and nobody else does, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because somebody should have the answer to it. You have this book is this thick, and you tell me you ain't got an answer.
You went to school to learn that
You
thick
got
book.
to learn it. You know,
You
what I
should
mean?
be reading that thing. To me personally, I mean, a pastor should be like a shaman. They learn their shit. You know it inside and out.
I mean, that's a lot to learn, though. I don't know about that.
I don't know, man. Let me tell you something. If that's the book that dictates your job, then you should know it.
Well,
Just the way it goes.
the CPA is a lot, though. I guess you could say.
Hey, let me
If I
tell you
could do-
something. If you're doing taxes and you don't know tax laws, you're not trying to read the books on it, then guess what? You ain't no expert in that shit. So if pastors aren't reading the whole Bible, you know what I mean? If pastors can't teach from anywhere in the Bible, then you ain't no real pastor. You ain't no expert anyway.
Damn, you saying the boy have to know everything?
Man, let me say, I'm not saying verbatim, but the whole time, shit, you better know that Bible front and back. That's your job.
Dog, you see how thick them Bibles are?
Man, you know how long they be pastors.
Dog,
You
I
got
can
plenty of
barely
time to
remember
read.
shit out of a magazine.
me
You
tell you
talking about
something. Let me tell you something. I've read pretty thick novels. You know what I mean? It takes a little while, but that's not impossible.
I mean, yeah, you've been doing it for decades.
Yes,
you should
indeed.
know it inside and out.
Yes, indeed. I remember I sat down one day. I said, I'm going to read this Bible from front to back. This when I was going to church. And I was like, I'm going to read this Bible from front to back. I didn't make it.
I can't make it past the first 10
I
pages.
didn't make it. But, you know, I read passages and stuff. I try to figure out things. Sometimes when things are pointed out to me, then I'll go and read up on it because I want to know. So I don't know the whole thing inside and out. But I never claim to be an expert on it, you know? But the funny part is if I died today, people will look back on this podcast and then what it will do is make people think like, oh, yeah, that was blasphemy. Yeah, he was going to go. He was going to go. But even if I fell and I walked out this door and collapsed, when I woke up, I don't know so much that I would say, oh, God did that to me. Because I don't think that's what God is about. You know what I mean? I think it's a little deeper than what we give it credit for. And I think if we truly understood it, like half of us would probably blind ourselves to the fact of it because we wouldn't be able to mentally handle it. I think we wouldn't be able to mentally handle it. It's something like when they say, okay, yeah, it's UFOs. You know how many people are probably not even paying attention to that or talking about it just because they cannot handle it? They can't handle that right now. There can't possibly be a UFO around this joint. No, sir. They said it was unidentified. We see it flying. We see it's fast, but that means nothing. I don't know. Get out of here with that. You know? That's what I say. All this country ever has done is lied about things. You know? So to me personally, why should I just sit back and believe everything that I'm only reading in this one book that I know was pushed really heavy around the globe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. And then you got the people asking why is this happening? Why did he just sat there? Why did he let slavery happen? Why did this happen? And I said, you know, I mean, I'm like, you know, y'all asking these questions and going to the Bible, just be, you know, think open-minded, be free with it and be like, okay, I'm not saying there's nobody there, but he's not going to just show up and be like, "Oh, fuck that, we're not going to have slavery. You're not going to slave
Yeah,
my
don't
other
work that
children.
way.
Y'all all supposed to be my children. I'm not going to have you can save us." You know what I mean? It's just that some things just happen.
Well, I think that
It
this
just becomes unanswered, but
I think that's what's
another
the
unanswered question.
I think that's what like the scary thing, you know, for most people is I think that we all want answers to a lot of things. I think we all want to know what tomorrow brings. We all want to know that God is listening to us and listening to our prayers. Grow Man said earlier, you know, we need religion or people will go crazy. And I do believe that. I believe we need something to keep us anchored. You know, only thing I'm thinking is
I ain't gonna lie. You said in medieval times, they said was crazy as hell. So,
well shit,
I
let me tell you.
understand. They
It's a lot of people believing in a lot of things. It's some things we ain't never even heard of that people believing in. I remember I had a friend, an Eskimo friend, that believed in the great Kodiak bear. I think he was telling me, pretty sure that's the bear he said it was. And I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty deep. I had a friend who worshiped the moon. And they said that, you know, the moon had an effect on the tides. It has an effect on a woman's menstrual cycle. And he was giving me all these reasons on why the moon was everything. And I mean, that's fine. If that's what you want to believe in, if it's part of what God has created, then in a sense, and in an extension, you're just worshiping God because you worship the beauty in what he's made, you know?
You can, right, exactly. You can't bash the next person. If what you say is true about God, then if somebody's thinking differently than you, then that's how they were created.
That's,
like you
that's
can't
their
bash
truth.
them. That's their truth. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
All day. All freaking day. What else was I gonna say? So we got 20 minutes left. So with these 20 minutes, what I do want to do is first off, start up some final thoughts and everything. And I know it's like 20 minutes, but I would like to go ahead and read that comment and we'll get on it.
All right. Christina said, "People stay blind to the truth because most minds can't conceive the reality of it. What if people found out their truths are actually the biggest lies? Their world would crumble. They would have nothing to live for. And maybe they are afraid they would have to think freely, and that's what the scariest part, to be able to think for ourselves, live for ourselves. Do we even know what it means to be mindfully free? We would go crazy if people knew that true lies within and not from the mouths of followers." And that basically make me think about how the percentage of mind that we use, because they said we don't use 100% of our mind. You know, we only use a portion of it. But the people who use a higher effect on it can do different things. Because like you said, people at one point was able to talk to animals, they said. And at first I thought it was crazy, but then again, I was like, well, maybe if they use that part of their mind, they can hear what the animal is actually saying. You know what I mean? Like, they like, you know what I mean? They might not hear a bark. They might actually
They might hear a dog saying, "Yo, give me a steak."
Yeah, and actually there's one of the dogs, I forgot, that you can train and it'll say no or yes or whatever. I forgot what it is. But look at a parrot,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's the way
So-
the vocal cords are set up.
That too. But
Yeah.
you know, what your mind is willing to receive.
Yeah, well, you know, let me tell you, I honestly believe that I think that we put too much stock into what other people say. I think we are making a bet that we won't know whether we win or lose till after we're all dead and gone. You know? Let's just say, you know, I mean, how do you know what's right or wrong until you're in the moment? You don't, especially with something like religion. How could you know? All we really know is what happened. And if we take from what happened and we truly objectively look at it, ask yourself, why do we believe so hard in what we believe. Why do we believe so hard in Christianity for those of us who are Christian? Why do we believe so hard in it? When we know the history of it, we know where it came from. We know it was pushed on us. We know it wasn't the original religion of our people, and our people being the ancestors that was brought to these shores. What's to say? How funny would it be if come Judgment Day, we go to purgatory, we getting out of purgatory, let's say it's a waiting room. I don't know what the hell it would be. But let's just say God was standing there and we're left to explain. And God saying, I put all this knowledge out there for you to find me, but you never looked. The only place you ever looked was where you were told to look, what you were indoctrinated to. You didn't try to find me. You, much like Facebook, just followed. That's all. So are you really trying to find God? Are you really, literally trying to find God, or are you just following where somebody told you God would be? And even if somebody read the book 1,000,000 times, guess what? It's all their interpretation, and when they preach to you, it's through their interpretation. If they have an epiphany tonight, it may change their whole outlook on what they read in Revelations. It may change their whole outlook on what they learned from Job. It may change their whole outlook. You don't know it. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and start up these final thoughts, and we'll take it from there. Go ahead, Ro.
My final thoughts of the shaping the culture. Like we started out with the music, I feel strongly that music and religion is what shaped the culture. Is the reason why we hear, how everything is right now, and that it's actually, to me, I feel like it's going hand in hand. There's even getting to the point they are taking the music and playing them in church, but of course they're changing the words around a little bit and things like that.
Rap it in church.
You know what I mean? Because they even started. The first thing popped in my head was the Salt and Pepper situation. That song "What a Man."
Yeah.
I remember like about 10, 12 years ago, they went to a church, but they flipped it, but did it for church, But that wasn't the first time that happened. It was plenty of songs that they did that in the church, and it's like, well, why would you take something that's so nasty just because you changed the words around and then perform in the church? But of course, everybody up there jumping around and dancing because they ain't thinking about the church version; they're thinking about the nasty version. As in today, there's plenty more songs like that. So they got them running that hand in hand, and that's one of the biggest things I believe that's shaping the culture is reason why it's where it is today.
I definitely feel you on that. Man. And they did do that with What a Man. And they was talking about God now, but I get it. I guess it was another song they sang.
It was a couple. It was a lot of songs they converted over
to Christianity and gospel music.
To gospel music.
Yeah.
To get hype. But even the white folks on it too in their churches.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I was like,
no doubt. No doubt. Well, I mean, here go my final thought about everything. And I mean, of course, we're going to do a little bit more talking because we got to take it to 10. But my thought is simply this. So I keep looking back on everything, and it's not me trying to be like, Black Power, and it's not a cultural thing, but it is a cultural thing. It's more about education than anything, I guess. I can't deny the fact that it rained over the weekend. That literally happened. And no matter how many years pass by, we can all look back to this weekend and know it rained. You got what I'm saying? Me saying that is me saying this. Slaves were bought here. There's no disputing that. We didn't have the religion of Christianity. There's no disputing that. But those slaves who were bought here, our ancestors, had children, and they had children, and they had children, and they had children, and guess what? Christianity in the beginning was forced upon us. And they passed it down and to their kids, and they passed it down to their kids, and they passed it down to their kids. And guess what? We're the final iterations of those kids. And it's been passed down to us. So in knowing that, I got to ask myself, I got to ask you, are we doing the right thing? Does knowing God in the sense that we know him now, does that change the fact of what happened to our ancestors? Does that change the fact that initially we were not worshiping Jesus Christ? Does it change the fact? Should we not read more and understand more and learn more, so that when we do sit down at the table, or we do choose to even go to a church, we're going places and learning things that could take us even farther? When it's all said and done, knowledge is king. There's no getting around that. It'll never be any getting around that. Even in the Garden of Eden, there was the tree of knowledge and the tree of immortality. And that tree of knowledge, why do you think it was a tree of knowledge? But then again, God said, if you eat from this tree, then you would know as I know. That's crazy. Think about that. You would know as I know. And maybe that's what getting knowledge does. It expands your mind, so you know as the people know around you. So you could know the truth of the things that has happened before you came. Why do you feel the way you feel? You got what I'm saying? Can you pull up another poem, please? I'm just trying to open these doors for y'all to just peek through. You ain't got to jump through. I'm not asking you to believe in nothing you don't want to believe in. I don't even have something better to offer you. I'm not even saying that there's something better, but what I am saying is learn your culture, learn where we came from, learn your history, see why things are the way it is, and see if that'll change your mind. You ready, Ro?
Yep.
Give it up.
6 a.m. I wake up. It's hot. Gotta find me something to eat before I go out, wondering if the good people or the bad ones coming today. Will my neighbors get their doors knocked down like last time? Home is no longer a home, but an open cage where you can be attacked at any given moment, wherever you're in or out. Afraid to come out, you should be. We killing ourselves and by others. No new rights made. The rights have gone left. Working off 2 left feet. No direction, out of tune, out of mind. Nowhere to go but down to the knees, praying that your enemies go to hell, while others rebel and pull up, oh well. Don't say we free, you free. Apparently, only 46 states recognize Juneteenth, but united we stand when a threat doesn't discriminate all lives. Making these kids think they have freedom, but we need to free them from the manipulation of society, from drug allocations, from lack of education, to the destruction of our people's liquidation.
So, I mean, I think the last part of that even sums up what we're talking about this evening, the influences in our culture, from religion to music, I mean, even to fashion. And why is it that we hate how we look so much? Or why is it that we feel like we are such a society of people that yearn to be individuals but fight so hard to stay the same? Subconsciously, we don't even know we're doing it. It's weird. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm going to share another piece with y'all, and I'm trying to just take it out till freaking 10. To take this, I wrote this a while ago, but it's not finished. I got so many things that I wrote, but I'm not finished. But I'm working on it. So, plus I'm coughing a lot this evening. I don't know what that's about. I would like to take this opportunity to raise my glass for the brothers that passed, not from bullets and gun smoke, but because God decided to call them home. They say only the good die young, and I don't know where that saying comes from. All I know is over my lifetime, it has been proven to be true. Half of that lifetime too young to admit that, my brother, I love you, without following up with no homo. Back then, being a man was 1% knowledge and 99% bullshit machismo. I wonder how many of my brothers today actually know how much they mean to me. I can no longer wait for the courage to build. I have to tell you all before we leave, I love you. Whether black, Asian, white, or mulatto, I know the human struggles you go through. I am my brother's keeper. Though the names on death's list keep getting deeper and deeper, Robert Turner, Darrell Miller, Lance Cole, Jason Mays, Roosevelt Jennings, I keep getting in my feelings at stoplights, radio fades to instant replays of moments we shared. No one said life would ever be fair. Yet no one said it would be so hard. And I wrote that, just based off the fact that I don't think we appreciate each other enough while we here. I don't think we give our praises, especially men to other men. I don't think that we give, our respects to each other while we around. We're so busy pitting competition against each other. Who's the best? Who's wearing the best? Who got the most money? Half the time, I don't even think men work to impress females anymore. Sometimes I think they're working to impress each other. Everything's not a competition, and we need each other. That's the one thing we need to keep constant, and we need to keep true. We need each other, and that's never going to change. You got what I'm saying? As we start this, boom, boom, boom.
Got to do one. Want me to do another one?
Yeah. You got one available?
Yeah. The only thing I look forward to when daylight comes is that I get to see another day. Another day for my sanity, and that everyone back home knows that I'm okay. But for some odd reason, I felt better at night, because during the day, I was uncomfortable with being in the open from the light, and that I was in everybody else's sight. Yet any place I was in, I felt trapped, claustrophobic, with hopes that this moment will go by quick, because the noises from the outdoors are keeping me in the ready, since the walls around me aren't made with brick. So the nights brought me dreams that kept me from sleep. However, the days brought me nightmares that triggered rage and blank stares that had my mind confused with reality, yet reality confused with my dreams, that had my mind in the clouds, but my heart was the key that showed me to stay focused and remember, I'm here to protect the land of the free. But who's there to protect me? So I have learned to keep my mind from scrambling words with life, which helped me to stay in focus. That is, dropping N and E thing from the state of confused, then unscrambling the remaining to push me to focus, along with the mindset to refuse to lose. And as the days and nights go by, I slowly find myself going back to the normal, only to extract the new norm and saying goodbye to my old self so that I can accept my new form. Night dreams.
Bam. And here you go. This will be my last one for the evening. I'm not sure if this one is complete or not, but I'm just gonna rock it out. I see so many lines and I drew through it, but please forgive me. If tomorrow never comes, may every breath within my lungs be filled with you. So many uncertainties that life has put us through. Thought I had everything, but then walked in you, heaven dancing within your eyes. And all of a sudden, every tear life made me cry was suddenly worth it. The hell with tomorrow if we don't deserve it. If tonight we fail to show each other how much we are worth it. Your emotions large as a mountain. We climax to the summit, sipping nectar from fountains forged by the gods. Let me inside your secret places. Familiar faces fade away. Let the cosmos slay this reality as we become stardust. The universe will forge new stories in the farthest reaches of itself about us. Our love will never fade away. Yesterday we were lost in chaos, but today we bask in each other's glow. May we dance slow to the rhythm of tomorrow's destruction. Let me be your clarity when you cannot function. We both have made the deduction that good things never last. Hurt and pain tends to cast a shadow on places it seems love will not go. But I'll smuggle wax from my soul to join with the fire in your eyes. And if tomorrow never comes, I'll tell the Grim Reaper that I stand between the D and E, not you. So take me, I'll plead. Let me bleed because you have bled way too much. Let my last touch be your soul. If tomorrow never comes, we forego the chance to grow old. But it is said, youth is for the young. Let forgiving be for those who choose to relive their pain. My gluttonous sips of your pain rejuvenate my mind. If tomorrow never comes, let time be its own keeper. Cheaper to borrow against what we don't know that we have left. And that is the end of that. As I said, July the 22nd, 517, Avenue of the States, Dream Spaces, Dream Event Spaces. We are doing Slick Talk. The MC for that is Slick the Hitman. Inbox me for more info. We'll keep the conversation going. I got my new book in the mail. I just have to do some hellified read. And I had a lot of stuff going on, so I could not read it the way I would like to. So give me a moment. We're going to start our next chapter on this, on our culture trying to move forward and break away from the things that bind us and keep us standing in place. I am literally making that my mission to stop us from standing in place. So thank you very much. Always find a reason to smile. Always find a reason to laugh. It's way too much bullshit out here not to. I love you.
Peace.
Crabs in a barrel. Want what you have, try to pull you down. Don't wanna work, just wanna take. They all so fake.